Over the duration of my last 5 videos on this series, we have covered every single Splatoon 2 special. But what's my overall rating on the special design of Splatoon 2? What are the main things that need to be learned for Splatoon 3? And is there anything from the story that's gotten lost? Today, we're going to be wrapping up the Splatoon 2 special design series. If you like my content, you can be sure to subscribe for more series on special design in the future. Let's get into the finale. Now, before I get into the overall rating, I want to talk about something I haven't really covered on this series yet, which is this transition from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2 specials. Splatoon 1 specials felt very different in execution than Splatoon 2 ones, and that's because they were made to be way more powerful and less dependent on coordination, with the only exception being Bomb Rush. Now, that's not to say that these specials weren't better when coordinated, they absolutely were, but you could get a lot more value individually if you used your special without as much coordination. It's most apparent with specials like Kraken and Inkzuka, one of which gave you invincibility and a one-shot kill, and the other of which gave you a one-shot kill that could surpass Splatoon 1 E-liter range, which is worth noting being longer than in Splatoon 2. Overall, Splatoon 1 specials have a very unique feel to them that a lot of people do like. Because they're so overpowered, it's really easy to get things done with them and feel really productive. But I think what a lot of people miss when talking about that feeling is playing against them. Now, don't get me wrong, counterplaying these specials in the few chances you do get the opportunity to do that feel awesome, and that's part of how powerful they are. Taming a Kraken by shooting at it so it de-transforms with its duration running out is one of the best feelings in the game. However, the majority of the time, these specials are going to get a lot of free value or even kill you a lot of the time without you being able to do anything about it. This type of special design just had to be changed with the route Splatoon 2 was going. It wanted a more coordination-based game, and that meant weaker specials with a higher focus on that. Splatoon 1 still managed to thrive thanks to the quick respawn meta, which activated instantly every time you died and was even very prevalent in solo queue, not just competitive play, but that's a topic for another video. Splatoon 1 was a very different feeling game, and if Nintendo was to change the direction to be more coordination-based, which they did, the old ways of Splatoon 1's QR and invincibility specials would just have to be changed. I bring this up not because I'm going to change the rating of Splatoon 2's special design because it's been harder, but just to have an understanding that it was harder. Nintendo had to change their special design formula for this game, and it's not like they could cut and paste specials from the first game. They changed the overall idea of what specials are. That is going to be a challenge. It's also worth noting that the dev team clearly learned as they went with Splatoon 2. Old balance patches were really drastic, and while I mentioned the Stingray overbuff in 1.3 where they gave it shockwaves, they also overbuffed Baller by nearly doubling its HP, and overnerfed Inkstorm by giving it a drastic increase to paint. There were a lot more interesting changes in the first half, though they were very clearly not good changes. Nintendo's patches have gotten overall more fine-tuned and less severe as time goes on. I think there isn't a better example of this than Ultra Stamp and Booyah Bomb. These are two of the best special design in Splatoon's history, and it's not a coincidence that they were also some of the last designed. When you're already most of the way through a game's development and have a long history of patches behind you, it's a lot easier to know what works and what doesn't, and to be able to learn off of previous specials. However, it's still worth noting that the old specials aren't exactly unfixable. Patches can still fine-tune these, and for some of them they have, and for others they haven't. But it's definitely a lot easier to design a new special from scratch with a lot of information on how the game already works than it is to design specials and change them later before the game even launches. So, with the context out of the way, it's time to give my rating on Splatoon 2's overall special design. I'm also curious to hear yours, so let me know what your rating and explanation is in the comments below. But for me, I'm going to be rating it a 7 out of 10. Splatoon 2 specials managed to hit a lot of highs. Inkjet and Ultra Stamp are amazing complex specials, Tentamissiles are amazing simple special design, and Booyah Bomb is one of the best HP specials I've seen in any shooter game, let alone just Splatoon. So some of the top specials definitely hit their marks in terms of being some of the best that I've ever seen, and the low ones aren't exactly the same. While yes, there's definitely some more problematic ones, It mostly boils down to issues that aren't too severe. Yes, they're still bad, but they don't ruin the overall quality of the game and the direction of their specials. It's not something that you would quit the game over. There's only one special I consider a true failure, and that's Stingray. I've covered all of these before, so I won't go in depth here, but think about it. Ink Armor still relies on coordination and isn't super powerful. Baller is a panic button, yes, but it's still not going to do an insane amount to break the game. Splashdown is weak, but it's not weak enough to be 100% useless. These specials have bad design, but it's not horrible, and that's part of why the rating is on the high end. Splatoon 2 specials overall do a good job of fitting the game's theme. They rely on coordination and are overall weaker. There's some flaws that need to be addressed, but as a whole, the specials do their job, and I think the game doesn't get enough credit for this. It's hard redesigning all the specials like I've said previously, so a 7 out of 10 on their first attempt is pretty good, and again, like I've stated, the later specials seem to do things even better, which gives me a lot of hope for Splatoon 3. But that begs a point. Does this rating even matter anymore? Nintendo's moved on to Splatoon 3 development, so I think what's more important than how good Splatoon 2 did it is how good will Splatoon 3 be now. Compared to Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2, there is no need for a massive overhaul. The game is coordination-based like Nintendo wants it to be, and the overall balance of the game has never been better. Nintendo seems pretty happy with it since patches have been rather minimal lately. On top of that, special design doesn't need to be overhauled, and a good amount of Splatoon 2 specials could flat out be ported with minimal changes. Where Splatoon 2 had the job of reinventing special design, Splatoon 3 has the job of perfecting Splatoon 2's design. It's a much easier task and something that the devs are now much more prepared for. So what are the main lessons to take from Splatoon 2's special design? Lesson 1. Simple specials. Simple specials need to maintain their execution being simple, but have a lot of depth in how they can be used. Lesson 2. HP specials. Health needs to come with downsides, and there need to be many options for especially coordinated teamwork against HP special users to be able to overcome them. Lesson 3. Bad specials. Avoid special design that has a huge lack of counterplay, but more importantly, don't be afraid to fix key issues. Do so carefully, but if a special is being limited by a big problem, or its main use is being limited by an aspect of it, don't be afraid to change and experiment with it. You can't just leave it as is and buff every other aspect, or the problem will never go away. Lesson 4. Complex specials. Honestly, keep doing what you're doing. Have both upsides and downsides that both sides can take advantage of. Nintendo really nailed both of these, so I don't think there's much that needs to be changed. Lesson 5. Painting specials. Specials that turf a lot should be able to be painted over easily, but themselves should apply a moderate amount of pressure. These specials are most important to be reliant on coordination with others. Splatoon 2 specials are a testament to Nintendo's ability to redesign specials, and the idea that they could change the formula and still do pretty well. But what happens when they don't have to do that anymore? What happens when they now have a blueprint of almost 5 years of special design to base their sequel off of? How much better can these specials get? Well, we'll have to wait a little longer to find out. This series on special design was the first high-quality series I've really done for this channel, and, well, it really did well. It reached a lot of people, and I know a bunch of you subscribed because of it, and I'm really happy for that. The idea that my ramblings on special design could reach a good amount of people and have thousands of people coming back to watch more of it is pretty insane to me. I'm thankful that you guys supported this series for as long as it happened, and it really made me make higher quality videos in the future. I'm definitely going to do more design videos, talking about gear, main weapons, sub-weapons, and when Splatoon 3 rolls around, we'll do the specials all over again. But in terms of Splatoon 2 specials, we're basically said everything there is to say. So thank you guys for supporting this series to its end. I hope you're looking forward to more special design and other Splatoon game design videos in the future, and as always, thank you all so much for watching.